Hey geeks, welcome. This is GrownAGeeks. We're here to talk about Star Wars The Acolyte. This is our mid-season review. We're 4 episodes in of the 8-episode series on Disney Plus. Hope you've been watching, and we are going to talk about everything that's happened up to this point. We're getting into the first half of the series. Might get into some things that we expect moving forward, some reveals we're hoping to get, and just give a little bit of an idea of what we've enjoyed so far, so maybe some things we haven't enjoyed, and we'll get into it. Joining me today, I've got Chewbacca is my homeboy. Got Miss Teresa here with us. How you doing today, Teresa?
I'm hanging in there.
That is wonderful. Thank you. Well, thank you for hanging in there, and thank you for being here with us today. And joining me once again, Cashmere the Pro. He is that dude. What's going on, my man?
That's how I identify another beautiful day in the neighborhood. You know how we do it. Ready to get into this whole Acolyte discussion, baby.
All right. So we're here talking about Star Wars The Acolyte, the new series on Disney Plus. They've had 4 episodes, and The Acolyte seems to be it is coming through with some mixed reviews. A lot of the critic reviews seem to say that it's a pretty good show, but it hasn't been necessarily reviewed and praised so much by the fans. But of course, I wonder if it's one of those scenarios where it kind of got the fan bombing of people who didn't really care for the premise, didn't really like what they are getting. Maybe because they were expecting something different and they're not getting that. Because a lot of the things that I like, some of the reviews that I see, people aren't complaining about the acting. They're not complaining about the cast. They're literally complaining about the writing. And I think we can have a pretty open discussion about that. Jeff and I talked I think it was last week when we did our live show for Star Wars Acolyte. And I think one of the biggest concerns that is out right now as far as the Acolyte is this takes place during the High Republic. This is, hundreds of years before the story that takes place of what we're familiar with, the prequels and, the original trilogy. And of course, even the new series. The High Republic takes place a long time ago. So that's a lot of open ground for Star Wars to play with. And ever since Disney acquired Star Wars, there seems to just be this universal feeling from the fans that Disney has ruined Star Wars. I can't necessarily say that I completely agree with that sentiment. Maybe it's because I'm just a huge Star Wars fan, but it seems like other fans have other thoughts. So let's start with you, Cash. What are your thoughts regarding Star
Disney's
Wars
handling
and the Acolyte?
So let me address the Disney and the Star handling of Star. Disney has ruined a lot of the properties in which they acquired, but Disney has ruined it for one reason and one reason only. Disney is good for children. Disney is good for nice, simple, fun entertainment that the intention is supposed to be G-rated and widely accepted and lacks controversy. At least that's the intention, right? It's supposed to be, oh, everybody's good and people get saved and things like that. But recently, the issues that I've had with Disney and making stories which are technically sort of bound by there should be a hero in them is that there is no clear bad guy. The villain in all their stories lately is pretty ambiguous. It is always some form of relatable evil or some relatable pain, and they're basically acting out on that pain. And that is what Disney tends to keep doing with their movies and their shows, and it makes it incredibly difficult to root for them. As far as Star Wars in particular goes, they've just done a really bad job of kind of like, I think when it comes to the writing and how they want certain series to go, I think somebody is thinking of scenes and thinking of particular moments that they want to see come across. And I think I think they're sitting around the writer's room and go, the fans would like this. And I think they're writing to get to that point. And they're not paying attention to the consistency of the writing, the continuity of the writing. If you made a character this way and gave them these motivations. How come is it 2 episodes later or 30 minutes, 40 minutes later, the character is completely flipping? So there's just not that. You can't watch it and go, all right, I can understand why this person is doing that. I can understand what motivates that person. I can understand this bad guy. I can understand this good guy. I can, generally, you kind of want the hero's journey. We're all familiar with the hero's journey. We like that, and it may seem cliche, right? It's maybe old hat, maybe we're trying to subvert expectations, but it works. It's appealing. We like rooting for someone who's going through a certain set of tribulations and then gets to this higher point and then excels and succeeds against all odds. Disney is just kind of like, yeah, everybody's struggling and everybody's going through it. So they're all just doing things and they're just kind of trying to work out their problems. And they're making shows that are more like therapy sessions to me. And the Acolyte is turning out to just be another one of these, like, here's some girls, and girls are powerful and they can do this, but they have trouble too, and they go through trouble and they act out and they do things, and they might, they might stab you or they might make you drink poison, but it's not their fault because they're really good people and blah blah blah, and you should, all right. And I said that, and I think I'm saying too much, so that is my unfortunate stance on.
Okay. I don't necessarily disagree with the ambiguous hero. I think we've had a rise in the anti-hero. And because of that, the popularity of that ambiguousness has done so well that they want to give everybody the option for future marketing purposes. Instead of it being, here's a bad guy, let him be bad and make him a bad guy. Everybody needs to be potentially redeemable, because if we can flip that character, we could do something with it. And real quick, let me just take a moment here. We've got one of our regulars going to bring Jeffrey, JPNT17. Bring him
Yo, Big Jeff from the group home, repping the champs.
So we cannot have a discussion without some proper discourse, especially when it comes to something that might refer to marketing. So we will always keep that dollar sign in mind when it comes to anything Star Wars. But I do think it is the bankability of being able to flip a character, having them be a little bit more ambiguous, that it leaves the doorway open. Not necessarily that every character has to be playing both sides, but the option needs to be there. And I think the success of things like Loki, success of like Deadpool, who does bad things but is not a bad guy, and so as a result, it becomes much more bankable as a character to leave them that out. Teresa, overall for Star Wars and the fandom as a whole, where do you fall, and how do you feel about the Acolyte being a part of the Star Wars story?
Cash got me kind of conflicted over here now.
He brings a valid point.
I'm absolutely a fan, because, I'm a fan of the fantasy, sci-fi, just the really creative, world or whatever. But I certainly understand, and this is good because, Cash used to say some stuff that kind of made me mad at him a little bit for being a hater. But I get what you're saying now. I can certainly understand where you're coming from. Where a fan of the original property might be a little, have some animosity towards Disney for kind of trying to turn everything into a Disney movie. I see it. I see that. Now I don't want to agree too much now. So
right,
I can understand.
He's pulling you to the dark side, that lure of the dark side.
Yeah, but I also, I think about how I feel when I'm watching these things too. And sometimes you just want a villain. You just want a bad guy for the good guys to go get and take out. And I thinking back on it, you're really not getting that anymore. They go and they're looking for him, and they call themselves going to take him out, but they get there and they have a discussion, a therapy session, he tells them the backstory of what happened, and why he's now, got to go blow up the so and so building or something. And, you know, and the good guy is like, well, maybe he's not so bad. And
Right.
if we just bring him back to our neighborhood and give him a nice piece of hot cornbread and some collard greens and just have a chat, maybe we can, talk him down, and maybe he doesn't have
Right.
to blow
Right.
up the building. He can just like paint some graffiti on it, and
There you go. You
we'll
just
call it
tag
even.
it.
So
We'll
I
ignore the
certainly
people he killed.
right. I get that, but I'm still a fan. I'm enjoying the Acolyte. I don't. How are we spoiling?
Yeah, this is a
Yes.
mid-season review.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
It's
okay, we're
absolutely a
spoiling.
mid-season review. So spoilers ahead.
there you go. Boom,
But
boom, boom.
okay, in this latest episode, you'll have to excuse me for a second. I have to plug my computer in before it dies.
No problem.
In this latest episode, I was kind of caught off guard by what's her name, May. She's been so hardcore during the first 3 episodes that she's just like, I got this contract. I gotta go get him. I gotta kill him. And then this one, she's like,
Nah.
okay, I'll go
Well,
turn myself into his name, the Wookiee. I'll go turn
Right.
myself in, and I'm like, what? You just wanted to kill him. Where is this coming from? You're supposed to be hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I and I'm not going to defend every point as a plus. I will let you
Well, let me
finish
just
out
say
your
real
thought, but
quick.
I'll make
You're
a
supposed to
note
be
for that
hardcore,
one.
and you've been hardcore since you were little. Your sister's like, she wants to go be a Jedi, and you're like, well, I'll kill you, and I'll stop that right there. But now all of a sudden, you want to turn yourself in, and maybe the Jedi is not so bad. So whereas I am enjoying the Acolyte, and I'm ready to see where it's gonna go, I was a little confused.
Feels
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Feels good. Feels good.
You feel vindicated. Okay.
Little
Good.
vindication.
You gotta
Not-
go
It's not even vindication. It's just understanding. It just
Little
feels good
confirmation.
to be understood.
Yeah,
Okay. So
I'm not on the
Jeff,
dark side yet, but I
you,
understand.
We'll get you.
you
We'll
you
get you.
came just in time. We've had discussions at length as far as the Disney acquisition of Star Wars and where we are with Star Wars now. Let's address specifically the Acolyte and your feelings towards this show.
I have enjoyed the first 3 episodes of this show. The fourth one, in my opinion, was a letdown. After the third one, which I thought was frankly an amazing piece of storytelling that I know everybody was up in arms about and did not like. And I think that what I have realized is, for me, the Acolyte is giving me what I have wanted from the Star Wars universe for a long time, which is like an alternate perspective. Like the Jedi have always felt like space cops to me. And like now seeing that actually
Yeah.
like play out and seeing them be like, yeah, like if you have powers, like you have to come be a Jedi. And it's kind of like, that's an interesting aspect of being a Jedi that we don't see covered, because we usually are coming from the perspective of like the Jedi going against some like darker force. So we don't really see that ambiguity, which I know some people don't like because, like RG was saying, the hero's tale, clear cut good and bad, is something that you will see in a lot of storytelling. But I think that is how you build the foundation of a IP. But the ambiguity is kind of how you get like more meat on the bone to a degree. And I do agree there should be some stories that are just like, let's cut dry hero's journey. Like the movies, in my opinion, should have been more like that, and
Right.
not this like twisty turny who's who, oh, that's actually my grandpa type thing that they tried to basically rehash something that they stumbled upon in the first one. Because when they wrote the first Star Wars, I don't think it was like clear that Darth Vader was going to be Luke's father. And you can go back
Right.
and you can like make it seem like, no, like Obi-Wan said this and that. Like he could have been talking about anybody.
Right.
As it pertains to the Acolyte specifically, I think that, we talked last week on the live about my feelings about, Star Wars fans and kind of the people who've been there for a while and their feelings about like kind of the newer version of Star Wars catering to people who have been longtime Star Wars fans, but often ignored and underserved and felt unwelcome by like the vast majority of like that fan community. So I'm not going to like rehash all that. I will just say,
go watch that video.
The Acolyte is one of those things that's helping to establish Star Wars further as the same thing like Marvel does, where all of these Marvel movies have like a theme, right? Like Ant-Man until the last one, those were all like heist movies. And, you know, even so now you're seeing that kind of thematic device rise to the top in Star Wars too, where you have your Westerns with Mandalorian, and you kind of have like a samurai saga with like Ashoka, and you have a crime like saga with Endor. Well, this is the like CW, like teen girl feelings, being unsure of myself. And this just might be a genre of television that is not for you. And you're seeing that bleed into your Star Wars world because the teen girl is a heavy Star Wars fan. That is a heavy like focus for Disney and their marketing team. Like, and not because they're trying to force something, but because the data supports the fact that like women are heavy Star Wars consumers. So they're not, I know to a lot of people, it does seem as though they're just trying to force all this stuff down people's throat, but it really is based on the data that like these are groups of people who support Star Wars with their dollars, and the more things that we can give them, like they're already supporting. So it's not like they're chasing after somebody who doesn't care about them, which is the way I think a lot of times it's framed. This just might not like the story about the girl who's unsure about her powers and has a magic, like, you know, if you don't watch soap operas, if you don't like weird Riverdale and Sabrina the Netflix Sabrina, if you're not watching shit like that, this is just not going to appeal to you. And I don't think it's indicative of like the fall off of the quality of Star Wars. It's like Mandalorian is a lot closer to what the original Star Wars saga is in and of itself. Yeah. This is very different for a reason. Like, it's super. I mean, I'll save some of the stuff that I really think is cool, but I think that a lot of people are missing out on some of the cooler things because of the thematic skin that the show is wrapped in. And this is the type of show that I like. This is the type of show that I watch in other universes in real life. So I'm not bothered by some of the things that I think other people are. Like the ambiguity that RG was talking about is a huge theme in all of these like teen shows, because you know, that's what being a teenager is about. It's about navigating the gray, learn how to navigate the gray areas of life. So yeah, this whole show is going to feel like a gray area because that is like the thematic, like overtone of just this genre of show targeted towards this group of people.
Now, see, I think what's interesting is to have not such wildly different perspectives when watching the same show, but just in opening up, the number one thing I like about The Acolyte is I have no clue what's happening.
Yeah.
And I will say that as an elder geek, like I be knowing shit, and to not have a base story to say, I know where it's going because, this is from this book. This is from that movie. They cherry pick a few elements and then they wrote an entirely separate narrative inside the framework. And like I said, when we on the pre-show, like this takes place during a time that isn't so clearly mapped out. So there's a lot of free range for them to do what they want to do in this show. And if it's done, like I've already, one of the things that stuck out to me is, one, since I don't know what's going on, I have to actually like watch. I have to like tune in and listen and look at the characters and see what's going on and rewind stuff to see what I might have missed. Watch it twice. I haven't had this kind of excitement for a Star Wars show in a moment. It took me forever to get through Andor. And again, it's just one of those, like, it finally tried to get good, and then it was like, it dropped off, and it was like, it threw me off. Book of Boba Fett. they didn't utilize the flashbacks properly. You know what
Now,
I'm
see,
saying?
that's where I would definitely agree with RG on the like sanding of the edges, because like but like to a degree, it's like, but you can't have two Mandalorian helmet killer shows,
right?
So,
but
Boba
when you
Fett
talked
clear
about the
cash grab.
theme, when you talk about the theme that the show is wrapped up in, this literally to me fits inside of like a very good whodunit. And there's elements that are taking place in this that it's like, because I'm the kind of person, anybody who watches any of the videos I've talked on, I'm always trying to figure it out. I'm always trying to like predict and analyze every scene to be like, oh, that person has to be this, because see the way their hand was held up a certain way. Look at those fingers. See the tattoo. Like, I'm a details person.
And he gonna be mad if you write your TV show wrong.
I'm not gonna be mad. I'm gonna be let down. There's a difference. Because I will feel a little betrayed. But with this, it's very much a whodunit kind of story. And you know, I can actually tolerate the slow burn pace of this show, because they're giving you a little bit each time. They give you some backstory, then they give you a little bit more, because I have yet to hear Soul actually say what happened. And we're 4 episodes in, and I know that whatever happened on that planet, on Braddock had to, or Brendock, whatever the planet is called, like it had to be bad. It had to be bad, because you have 2 Jedi who have basically exiled themselves and just like, they're just out. One guy's been meditating for 10 years to try to atone, and still at the first opportunity, seppuku. Like, what could you possibly have done that's got you ready to just, as soon as you see the person, you're like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were doing the right thing, but you know what? Let me make up for it.
And I'm a play a you in this one. He ain't do shit. They ain't do nothing that bad. I'm gonna tell you, see, episode 6 is gonna have them show, oh, the fire went and there was a spark and they hit somebody upside the head and they was like, oh, it was you, witch. Vroom. And then
hold on. You can't have preemptive hate on the plot line that you don't even know exists.
And that's the funny thing about
this.
That's
how strong the hate is with me.
I mean, that's some that, you know.
This motherfucker got hate ESP.
got hate
ESP. I like that.
Haterpathic.
See, honestly,
I think wrong with this one.
I think the thing, honestly, though, it might be fear, because fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. RG is hating because he's afraid this show is going to be fantastic. He's afraid
I'm already converted. I'm already
around.
On the dark side. This is anger. This is rage. It ain't fear, baby. It's all rage.
Yep. And with that last episode, you're gonna be laying there like Darth Vader, talking about take off my helmet.
Let me look upon you with my real eyes. But
holy shit,
I
the
think
show is good.
One of the great things about this show so far, I have enjoyed the way they are unfolding the story. I do like the dynamic, and it's bringing a lot of callbacks to still keep it a part of the Star Wars universe, even though there's nothing canonical, so to speak, because they're taking everything that's happening is taking place before the established canon.
Right.
And so they basically get to write in how the canon was created. And that gives them, like I said, the freedom to do what they want to do. And the fact that there's not a specific story to base this on, I just like not knowing what's happening and having to pay attention. And for the first time in a long time, watch what's shown. And that was one of the things I liked about Mandalorian. It was something completely new and different. There was nothing to base it on, so you had to just go with what they were giving you.
I feel like with Mandalorian, though, because people had such an attachment to Boba Fett, there was a lot of like Mandalorian culture and lore out there from the Clone Wars.
I think that came a lot from the Clone Wars.
That's why they had to be.
That the Clone Wars is the best. If you want to understand the Star Wars universe, watch the Clone Wars.
Yeah, that's why they brought Bo-Katan.
You're going to get a lot of there's a lot of
And when they make a
information.
live action Clone Wars, I ain't watching that silly putty looking ass.
I'm sorry, but I'm telling
was
you,
good,
it was
Jeffrey.
good. Like it was. Now who's
I'll take y'all word
now
for it.
who's he's got the preemptive.
No,
hate.
I will say that, you know, with the Mandalorian, yes, having the whole culture of Mandalore and having all of that lore incorporated in, you know, because Mandalore was a place and there were already other Mandalorians, Bo-Katan and Darth Saber and everything that was wrapped around that, they were able to use a lot of really well liked items that were popular and incorporate them into the story. So they had a lot to build on with that. So that was an easy transition. The Acolyte doesn't have that same. There's like a handful of books that are public, and one of the first things that a lot of Star Wars fans are jumping on is the fact that the extended universe, now Legends, is no longer canon. And since so many people are like, you have the whole footprint, just make that, you know, and it's like,
get over it.
Right. And saying that's the thing, like Disney bought this and they would have to pay all of those people again. They've already been paid for the books they wrote the first time. And if you go out and you buy any of those books, they're still going to get their money for the books they wrote. But if they decide to make a movie or a TV show and use that content from the books, they got to pay them again.
Yeah.
They don't want to do that. So they're saying, okay, take all of that, push it to the side. We're going to make new canon. We're going to make new stories. We're going to tell our own stories, base it in the Star Wars lore. And technically nothing that's been done so far, and this is the hill I'm ready to die on. Nothing they've done so far breaks canon to the point that it's no longer Star Wars. Right down to, if these twins were created by the Force, it doesn't diminish the prophecy of Anakin.
But they weren't created by them, because she said it. Right? The whole conversation between the two mothers were, if I have to tell them how you made her.
Right. She didn't say how. She didn't
but
say
another,
how.
But it's implied that she was made. She was made. Right? In other words, here's how Anakin happened. Where's the boy's father? He has no father.
No, I'm 100%
in this case, they're saying that the twins were made. I'm assuming that it's implied they were manufactured.
If they were made by the Force,
huh? I mean, she said she felt. Here's the thing. She felt like she was holding it against her to say the Jedi. What if the Jedi would have found out how you made them?
Agreed.
So with that, it couldn't be a situation of, oh, the Force was just like, ooh, look at you, random white lady, you're pregnant now, and the Jedi would have an issue with that, because all they could say is, oh, we were just chilling in our witch circle, and then my girlfriend was pregnant.
Nah, because if they did that, then the Jedi would take all them women in and be like, y'all out here making love to the Force. Like, y'all can't just be out here in the galaxy in the streets just like making little Jedis that we
having
don't know
Force
about.
orgies.
Oh, willy-nilly.
Nah, they would have cleaned that up super quick if they found out. Because most of the Jedi, they were all like born naturally. They just were force sensitive enough to become Jedi. So if you meet some women where it's like, we ain't got to wait for the randomness of these two genders to have a child, and potentially that child be force sensitive, and potentially they be good enough, and we catch them early enough. If you could just have basically geese laying golden eggs,
right?
Like, the Jedi is swooping that up.
But some things were implied,
and they're gonna
in
have
that
to figure out how to
conversation.
control that.
Absolutely.
Right. But some things were implied in that conversation that they were, it makes it seem like, obviously there were no children, right? Like, they were the only two girls, the only two children around. So there must be something about their coven that, now, I mean, the fact that there's nothing but women, and I don't see no dudes, so I don't know how you're gonna get pregnant to create new life. But obviously, this is
physiology.
This is
alien species. You take Mass Effect, they have.
You know, y'all are creative licensing like a mug, but
no, it's not even
alien physiology.
Well, okay,
right, but even in alien physiology, there is some people that okay, these people are asexual, or you know what I'm saying, like they hermaphrodite or whatever, you know what I'm
we don't
saying the
even know
situation is.
we don't even know that the twins and the black mama, they don't even know they human. We just assuming that because they don't have like a bunch of physical things that we usually see in Star Wars.
No, but they had the other people. So here was the thing, right? So this was one of the things that they kind of like covered in the Clone Wars with Darth Maul's group of people, right? So remember Darth Maul's people are what the hell were those folks called again? They had not yes, there it is, Darth Morian. Darth Morian.
Yes.
Darth Morian. So there was the Darth Morian witches who were also Force sensitive, right? And they were exactly. You know what I'm saying? There was a whole planet where that's how they look that way. So the precedent is there, at least in the minds of the fans. So I don't think there's that much of an issue with like, oh, okay. I don't like, for example, I don't have an issue with the fact that the kids exist or how or the lore, if they're, if it's, the specialness of them or breaking the prophecy, because like Sam said, this is old. This is a long hundreds of years before what we know what it is. We don't know when that prophecy got made or how long that prophecy has existed. They never really speak to that. So we don't necessarily know if that prophecy applies to now. And like Sam said, one of the things I do appreciate about the show is that it's new. I don't have any basis for it. I can just watch. I can watch it with the same wonder as the first Star Wars, as the Luke Skywalker Star Wars. I don't know shit about anything that's supposed to happen with these people. I know there's Jedi. I know there's a Republic. I know there's Sith. And that's really all I know about this right now. Everything else is they have creative freedom to go ahead and do the things that they want to do. I have the same issue with the critics who make diversity an issue as you guys do. That is the stupid reason. I don't want that. Like, I don't want that can't be the reason why you don't like it, right? At the same time, I don't want your marketing to be about, hey, there's a black girl in it and black people should be happy because a black girl's in it. Let me just watch the damn show. Well, first off, the girl did the interviews and she was like, we're going to get white people tears and there's going to be a lot of white people crying.
Bro, she was joking, man.
But why?
You know why? You know why? Because even if she goes out there and she says everything perfectly the right way, she's still going to get the same response from those people. So why do you need to kowtow to people who've already decided that they hate you and your art before they've even viewed it? She's not stupid. She's seen what has happened with every single woman, especially women of color, that has helmed a Star Wars series before her in the past 10 years. She knew what she was signing up for. She was one of the pioneers of it for this generation because she's the one who got the same reaction when she got killed in Hunger Games. And people were like sending all them tweets like, I didn't know Rue was black. They shoving this down our throat. So like, Amanda Stenberg knows what she's doing. She knew what she was doing in that moment, and it was not to like, it was based. I think I understand what you're saying. Like, if the studio is like, oh yeah, come check out our new Black Star Wars movie.
They didn't premiere the show on Juneteenth. I'm just saying.
You know what I mean? I feel like for us as we are gonna watch it, but for a lot of people, knowing that black people are in it will make them maybe give it a chance if they're scrolling by it. If they see something that's like super sci-fi and it's a bunch of white people, they might not click on it. If they see super sci-fi and there's some black people on it, they might click on it and they might watch it. And then we might get to see more black people in sci-fi stuff to the point where it doesn't have to be a thing. But I mean, I get what you're saying, and it is a fine line. But I think in that moment, like her in her status with what she's been through and what that has happened with the context of what has happened with that franchise and leading women in that franchise as of late, it's like you got to do what you got to do to protect your peace. And if it makes you feel good personally to like make people mad who are going to be mad anyway, at least what they gonna write is true.
But okay, no, and I got you. I'm all for that.
Let me just point out one thing before you speak, Raji. I just want to give context. when she made the comment about the goal was to make white people cry, she wasn't even talking about Star Wars. She was talking about The Hate You Give. It was an entirely separate movie. It just happens it's the same actress who made that comment. Now that that actress is being cast in Star Wars, people are suddenly
then you know something?
remembering.
I rescind my statement. I rescind my statement. If that statement was not made towards Star Wars, then I rescind it.
But
then
the
I
thing,
don't care. I don't care that she said that. Then.
No. But that's exactly the point, though, because it's one of those things where it's like, oh, this is going to be the new girl in Star Wars. Well, who is she? What has she done? She said that she can't be in Star Wars. You see what I'm saying? Because they're taking something that was over here and completely unrelated, and that's what they're remembering. That's like who she is now, forgetting all of the other stuff that she's done in the other. Because that interview took place with Trevor Noah, and I remember that interview because I remember when that movie came out. And that movie, The Hate You Give, like if you ain't seen that, check that out. But it was that interview that people remembered, and because she's the lead in this Star Wars series, that's what people are bringing up, and it's like, oh yeah, that old tweet she put out and stuff like that. When a new director comes up, that's the kind of stuff they do.
And I wanted to just say too, like she is actually like the person who all these Star Wars fans have been saying they want. They want real fans. They want people who actually care. Now, this girl has been on all the press junkets. She playing Star Wars violin. She answering all the questions right. She recreated iconic looks. She's basically like Zendaya junioring her way through this press run.
Yeah.
And it's not getting no love and it's not getting no attention because the people who have the biggest voices in that fandom, unfortunately, do not look like me and you, and they're not going to prioritize that. So, in order for that to be different, though, we have to be able to see her, and we have to amplify that fact that most of us. All right, I ain't even want to. We can get back to the Acolyte, but I was going to say,
get back to the Acolyte.
We all have been in situations where people have been like, "Man, that ain't for us. That's for them," and especially with sci-fi. Because of lack of representation. But it's a weird effect because if they put black people in the movies and we know white people aren't going to go see it because they're going to think it's not from there, simply from black people being there, which is why they're having a big problem with this show, because it's like, I mean, Star Wars is ours, but everywhere I look around, I'm not seeing like the white man that I'm supposed to like glom onto as like the thing that makes me feel better about myself when I watch the show. That's the issue.
But then why did Andor fail? Right? Like Andor,
he's Mexican.
Failed.
He's Mexican.
Right, but I mean, but most, oh yeah, that's true. But I mean, I don't think nobody hawked on that. Like I never heard.
No, he wasn't. I
never heard. Andor is praised
trying
critically,
to pass, though.
Right? But Andor is praised critically.
So is this.
But it's praised by critics who are on the payroll critics.
Okay, so here's why Andor worked. Here's why Andor worked and the Acolyte is struck. People liked Rogue One.
Yes.
He was in Rogue One.
Yes.
So he gets to carry over the character from Rogue One into a standalone series to show how he got to that point.
Right.
If Rogue One had not been the movie it was, and I forget the young lady's name, but they had Mads Mikkelsen. I mean, you look at the cast of Rogue One.
Right, yeah, that was great.
Cassian Andor was a side character in that. You know what I'm saying?
But then it wasn't it was praised, like critically praised, right? But it wasn't as successful with views. It didn't get as many, people didn't stream it as much.
Yeah, because it was a Mexican dude. It was about the Mexican dude, not the white lady.
But I mean, hold on. So Mandalorian. Mandalorian
one in the whole
is
show.
Not that dude. Pedro Pascal.
He had a
helmet.
Yeah, but we know it's the Corona dude. We all know it's Pedro.
He wasn't
Pascal.
like, hey, baby Yoda. He was passing. My boy from Andor was not passing. You not passport, please. As soon as he opened his mouth.
Actually, no. Look, take the opening segment of the show. Hey, where are you going? Show me your papers.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, he had to show papers
That's
everywhere.
That's in the show.
We're going there, folks.
I'm just saying. But no.
They went there.
So that's the show. And it made for great television. And ultimately it was, he was he was on the run for something he did. He's been tracking his sister, and you know what I'm saying? Like, Andor had a good premise and it was a good story. And I think one of the biggest issues I had with that was knowing no matter what kind of issue he runs into, I know he's going to get out of it because he's in Rogue.
I feel you.
So
I
the
feel
stakes always stayed a little low. No matter how interesting it got, no matter what checkpoint he had to get through, no matter what uniform he had to put on to get by security, I knew eventually he would get out of it because he's in
you.
Rogue One.
I got
And so with this, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't
Hmm.
know if Saul's going to make it to the end of the show. I don't know if, you know what I'm saying? They took Trinity out in the first episode. So I'm like, you killed Trinity. That's Trinity from the Matrix. And she, first episode, gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I felt like the way I felt when I found out Jada Pinkett was going to be in Scream. And they took out right to I was like, come on.
Well,
Now I
You
gotta
put
see
her in the billboards. You put her in the cover.
but they're also telling this story in a non-linear way.
Yes.
So
and
it's
that
like,
is enjoyable.
she shows back up, and that
Right.
was the thing when I
true.
saw people complaining about like the writing, and I'm just like, you don't know anything yet. Like, they're telling the story out of order. Right now, you're just meeting everybody. Like,
it's like watching 30 minutes of Memento and being like, man, this up.
And so I did want to Pulp Fiction. I did want to, like, you know, I mean, if we're gonna kick off getting into stuff we like, I will say those first 3 episodes I enjoyed immensely. I think Amanda Stenberg's acting in, like, the first time I had to double take and be like, that's her again, right?
Yeah.
Because the mannerisms, her posture, her aura, like, she's shifted them so well and into creating 2 distinct characters. Well, obviously, like, they're wearing different clothes and it's fairly easy to see the difference, especially when you Black. We could tell the difference between each other. Apparently other folks struggle at that, but I think her acting that she's putting into delivering this performance of, like, different kinds of sureness and different kinds of unsureness in both characters, so it never feels like, oh, I'm just watching you pick up 2 checks. Like, no, you actually are, like, playing these different. And then I think, like, overall, the non-linear storytelling of kind of just thrusting us into action and then working backwards a little bit, it feels very much like the original Star Wars. Like, in the first Star Wars, it wasn't like, yeah, we got thrust into the middle of a battle, but like when we met like Luke and all these other people, they're just living life. And I think they don't show enough of, like, I think when you start expanding beyond like the Skywalker family and beyond, honestly, just people running from, people just running from the Empire. You know what I mean? Like, what is Star Wars without the Empire? Because so much of it is defined of trying to get from under the thumb of the Empire. And I think even just like the way that they frame the Jedi have been interesting, because it's like power, like the power it's a power vacuum. It's leaving a gap and somebody has to fill it. And even in their most nobleness, the Jedi are filling that void that eventually will be taken by the Empire. And I think, like, this is an interesting time. It's an interesting time to explore in the Star Wars universe. I think it's an interesting thing, especially for those of us who didn't read all them 1,000 books that came out while people were waiting for, you know, episode 1 to come out finally. For those of us who haven't watched all of the Clone Wars and Rebels and all the in-between stuff, for those of us for whom Star Wars has been a live action TV and movie franchise, this has been a very good addition and a very welcome exploration of a time period that often I think gets looked over because those main properties are so tethered to what sells. So it's got to be Jedi, Sith, Vader, Chewie. Like, you know, they're really, I think, stepping out and trying to create something different. The only thing you really are familiar with in this whole series is like the Jedi. Right. And so everything else, all the other cultures, all the other things that we see, how we see people moving around them, it's all new. And so how can you, I understand being frustrated. And like I said, I understand maybe if like teen emotional, like, teen arcs are not your thing, but
CW shit.
Yeah. And it's like, and that's fine. But as long as you're critiquing what you actually see and not like wishing it was something else or mad because somebody's included that wasn't included before, it's like, all right, then don't watch it. That's how I feel about it. But I think you would be missing out on some very interesting things. I think the witch coven or whatever, how is a coven?
The
Is that
Coven,
what they
Coven,
call
yeah,
themselves?
Coven. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was fascinating. I've
Mm-hmm.
always wondered, like, what if you're not on Tatooine and you discover you have force powers? What is an alternative? Do you just got to be a Jedi? And if you don't become a Jedi, if you don't run across somebody who can get you to the Jedi, you just gonna become a Sith? Are there no other alternatives? Are there no other people who have ever felt and wielded this kind of power before and decided to like come up with their own way of?
I mean,
It's a
homeboy
big
from
ass
Rogue
galaxy.
One. Nah, the dude from Rogue One, another Donnie Yen character, another badass, walked through the whole movie, and what did he keep saying?
But
The
he
Force is with
he
me.
ain't had a
I'm one with the
force.
Force. Now
He
he
was
did,
fronting.
That motherfucker had luck.
let me tell
He had a 4-leaf clover. That
The
dude was
dude behind him
there was
leading him.
clearly some Force sensitivity taking place. He was a monk that trained in the location where the kyber crystals are stored and kept by, for the Jedi to come and collect and whatnot. But there again, even though he didn't exhibit Force powers, there are and have been other groups who are Force sensitive. Like we talked about the Witches of Dorthamir. There's been, and even in the High Republic time, there were the Jedi, the Sith, and then there were these other factions who were Sith people. And ultimately, what we're getting from this show, and this comes from some research I've done and stuff that I've watched, what we're getting is an opportunity to see things from a different point of view. And for a majority of Star Wars, it has been a very, two-party point of view. Empire, Rebels, Sith, Jedi. It's always been one or the other. And it wasn't until we got around a little bit later on, like with Clone Wars and we got Ahsoka, we started seeing somebody who kind of like tiptoes the line and kind of does their own thing. And I think that's why Ahsoka does so well as a character, why she's such a fan favorite, because she's technically not a Jedi anymore. She still has her connection to the Force and she does what she wants to do. She's got her own mission. Ain't nobody going to tell her she can't do it. And we're seeing an example of Jedi who have been unchecked because they've wiped out all the Sith at this point in the High Republic. This is the peak of Jedi civilization. And they get to walk around and do what they want because who's going to stop them? Like, who's going to check them? They're Jedi, and people look at them with that type of appeal. And we have Mother Anastasia who's like, not here. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you so y'all some Jedi, see your boy right there? Look at him. You might want to check on him. Got Torben over there, like, what I'm saying, stuck. It's just straight slumped. And she's like, well, we were just talking. If you could let him go, that'd be great. Because they didn't want that smoke, and I think it was a situation where if it had come down to it, the Witch Coven was ready to throw down with the Jedi, like it was nothing. So they didn't have that fear. And this is something the Jedi are not accustomed to. And so it will be very interesting to see as the episodes continue.
Star Wars fans are not accustomed to either.
That definitely something Star Wars
struggling with.
And let me tell you something. I have never pretended that Star Wars for me wasn't always about space wizards and laser swords. I'll say it every time. I'm never going to pretend like that's not Star Wars to me. So watching something like Andor, I struggle with it a little bit. That's like, y'all, I can't put like not one Jedi in this. Like, ain't nobody got the Force. Like, come on, man. But there's a lot of other people in Star Wars. There's a lot of other things that take place.
It's a big galaxy, my man. It's a big galaxy.
It's a huge galaxy. So for it to only focus on this or that or the other, it is nice to see something new, something different. And it's been a nice change of pace from the status quo.
I feel like if you're doing the love fest, we're gonna go to Teresa.
Look.
There you go. Go in that direction.
Man, you can say one thing you like about the show.
No, you know something? Let me be honest with you. So the episode that everybody talked shit about, episode 3, literally my favorite episode.
It was such a good episode.
Have nothing bad to say about that episode at all. Nothing. I love the Coven. So here's the thing. I love the idea of the Coven. Probably mostly because, and I have an affinity because, what was it, American Horror Story? My favorite season of American Horror Story is Coven. I love the idea of witches and that feeling of being in touch with the Force and things like that. That was a natural fit. And that's one of the things that I loved about that episode is it didn't seem forced. No pun intended. It didn't seem forced. It seemed very natural. It would make sense that there are a group of people in the galaxy, especially women, that are force sensitive, have harnessed the power, have come together, and are not bad. Like they're not Sith. They're not. It's not this extremism that the Star Wars universe tends to constantly push on us, where it's either you're all good or you're all bad. It makes sense that they're exploring this idea of, yes, like the video game, this gray Jedi type of thing, where there is a gray area. There is hey, I have these abilities, I have these powers, but I'm in tune with the universe. I liked that. And I will say this, if you like good entertainment, like if you like good, simple, I want to root for this young girl. I understand a young woman's struggles. I understand the emotional confliction that they may feel. This is a good show. I'm not, it presents that very well. I understand that perspective as a girl dad. Like, yeah, young girls just make really irrational fucking decisions. And, do I understand it personally? No, I don't. But I don't need to understand it to enjoy the story that you're trying to tell me. I do appreciate the story. I get upset because you have to just be consistent in character motivations. You cannot you cannot define a person this way, right? Like you go through the effort of defining this person this way, and then you turn around and you make them do something that is completely contrary.
So if you went 16 years thinking your sister was dead and the Jedi killed her?
No. It doesn't. I am not necessarily. So this does not necessarily. I'm not applying this to necessarily them two.
Okay.
Right. It is not. This is not about May, or this is not about Osha in particular. To be honest, Osha's character is a very stabilizing force in the show. Like she's the only one written consistent. She's the only one whose behavior I'm like, oh, I understand why she's doing that. I understand why she moves left. I understand why she's like, oh, no, I gotta leave. I'm going. Bye. They found my sister. I'm gonna let the Jedi handle this. I'm out. I understand all of that. I understand why she, tried to fire at her sister, but didn't really aim that good.
They've given us the most information about her. You know what I mean? Like she has more tethers and more information explained about her through those 4 episodes than any other character. And I think as everybody else is getting their story like filled in, you're learning more about them. I do think it might be like 1 or 2 too many characters on this show, and we like spending time on like friendship side quests, and it's like, let's get to that action, boss. Let's get to the lightsabers. But I don't necessarily see the inconsistencies, but I do think like the way that episode 3 played out, to come back from that into episode 4, where it was like y'all packed a whole lot of story into episode 3 just for us to like be walking on a path in episode 4. The pacing felt a little bit off, and I would have liked to have got to at least give us more time with the other sister, so we can start filling in the blank on like where the hell she's been since she woke up. Because we know, Osha went to the Jedi. We know she was friends with the boy with the Killmonger hairdo. We know she was the Asian dudes. I don't be knowing people's names. Asian dude, Soul's Padawan. We know she left. We know she's been working on the railroad all the live long day. Like that's where we find her. We're not really confused about where she is. Her whole story is about, is she going to be able to unlock her ability to use the Force between now and the end of this season. The other one is like, okay, where have you been? Because like everybody thought you were dead. Everybody is so shocked to see you.
Right.
When are we going to start filling in some of this backstory and understanding how you're tethered to everything and why you're going back and doing this ritual? And I think it was a lot of like, it was a whole episode just to get everybody in the same like vicinity. And I feel like you could have definitely like, we could have, what gamers do when y'all got to travel from one place to
fast travel.
Fast travel. We could have fast traveled through this episode.
Honestly, I do think that's why this episode was shorter, because this was just to get the reveal, to get the Sith Master reveal, so that we can have that episode you talk about. Because I honestly think episode 5 is going to be perhaps another flashback episode, and this time it will focus on May's story and what she's been doing for the past 16 years to get to this point. The conversation she had with Kamir as she was walking and they were going to see the Wookiee, those conversations, they're talking about the master. It's master. Oh, he collects people. I'm in debt to him as well. I've never seen his face. You've never seen his face. He gave you these, like all this conversation is surrounding him. And then, of course, right at the end of the episode, he pops up. And he pops up clearly stronger than the rest of the Jedi, who thought they were just going to run in. And he was like, be gone, peasants, you know? And I mean, the way he flicked her aside, like, that was that like.
All right, theories. Wait.
Before we, Teresa, we got it. The Force is female.
I got excited.
We are dominating.
Teresa, Teresa goes.
I'm not gonna let this be a hate.
I'm fine. I've said what I
did want to point out, because Teresa, this comment is for you, and we're going to go back to. I don't feel like May had a sudden change of heart on the Jedi. I don't think she's changed her feelings about the Jedi. I think she's changed her feelings on her sister, and I think that was what we saw, and it looked a little different, because in the first episode,
she said it.
She got ready to
suffers from tell and not show. She said it. Oh, Osha's alive. That changes everything.
You have that. But I wanted to point out in the first episode when she was fighting against
Trinity,
Indara. Well, Trinity. When she was fighting against Indara, the guy that was at the bar, she left that guy alive once the child walked up. So for this cold-blooded killer, and I thought that's where you were going, RG, when you talked about like you just need a real bad guy. She's the acolyte. She's the person studying under the Sith. Whoever has that red lightsaber, I feel like that person would kill anybody at any time, no problem, because that's a Sith. She's not a Sith. She's training under that person, perhaps to become the apprentice, to move up, to get promoted or whatnot. And what he's wanting to do is feed your hate, anger, be mad, be upset. So he keeps like putting these situations in place that's going to keep her angry. When we see the first episode with the twins when they were little girls, we see the dynamic then that they were kids and they acted like kids, and it was cute to watch them be kids, even though they're Force babies and whatnot. If they know,
one of them got so mad that she was like, "I'm gonna burn you, bitch."
Right.
I'll burn you. I love you.
But let me tell you something. I have two boys that are very close in age. I have seen some conversations. I remember some conversations, and it was like it flipped. Something they was upset about something the other did. It snapped in their head, and the next day they was playing like didn't none just. And I'm like, did y'all just? And that's what. And I mean, if you have siblings, you probably know what I'm talking about, especially if they're close in age like that. So even something like that, okay, maybe it's a little extreme, but also keep in mind that these ain't normal children. These are like Force sensitive, Force capable kids who go
ain't been around other kids.
And let me also point out that from that episode, we see that little fire. Come on now, she didn't do all of that.
Well, we obviously we obviously know it extended a little bit past. The fire in that room, but obviously some. Right, but hold on. Because hold on.
The Jedi is the police.
We've opened up a box, right? So Jeff has already set us up for theories, for future theories. But we cut Teresa off. I just want to get to, I want to hear Teresa's likes. Do you have, because you kind of, I felt like what I said, it influenced you. I brought you a little bit over. I don't want you to come to the dark side. I'm a great Jedi. I got a lot of hate in me, right? But I don't want it to motivate you. I don't want you to go down this path. It's a lonely path, and I already got a Padawan, so I don't want to kill my one Padawan. What did you do?
So what were the things in the show that you did?
I feel like I gave them. I'm enjoying the show. It's another trying to think of that. It's another X-Men 97 where I didn't know if I was gonna like it, how it was gonna catch me, because I don't really do superhero animation. But this is all new, like you said. This is all prequel, so there's no canon. I didn't know how it was going to draw me in, but it is drawing me in. I was waiting for the episodes to drop. I didn't watch the one yesterday because I'm not running around trying to get my car fixed and stuff. But I was still looking forward to seeing what was going to happen next. And the way this one ended, I'm still looking forward to see what's happened next. So I like it. It's drawing me in. I do think, though, I'm wavering on May a bit, because I just feel like, she's a very strong character. And I think that what kind of put me off with her in the background episode yesterday is, she is really, like, I'm a big horror movie fan. I like horror movies. I like the monsters and the ghosts and stuff. But where I draw the line is killer kids, evil kids. I can't take
Children of the Corn type stuff.
And yes, exactly. Gotcha. And when May yesterday, when she wasn't like bringing Osha to her side, and she was like, "Then I'll kill you," and the look in her eyes, I was like, "Okay, I'm done with her."
Well, they even did a good job of showing that with like even at the very, very beginning of the episode with like whatever them alien butterflies were, and like May is just like holding her, and the other one, she's like, "I'm about to rip the wings off."
Yeah, they did a very good job establishing how different the girls were, and how sensitive and kind of introspective Osha was, and how like fiercely loyal May was. So.
And I think how poor a job the Coven did of like recognizing the like fact that they need to be nurtured differently. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like May was definitely, she was just like all on board, all about the Coven. She was sure about herself. She was sure about her destiny. And I think, Osha less sure. It's, it's that extrovert, introvert, yin and yang type deal, but that people often don't see with like twins, because there is this like people treat you like it's just two of the same person, but it's like it's not.
You look alike, so you must be alike.
Yeah,
which they didn't look alike. So that's because before we go into theories, and I just want to address the inconsistencies.
They looked enough alike.
They didn't. They didn't.
They look.
You looked at them and you was like, "Y'all fraternal. Y'all fraternal twins." And I can accept y'all fraternal twins.
Let me explain why they did that. Let me explain why they did. Because if you had gotten two twin girls who looked exactly alike and they were wearing the exact same thing, you would not be able to. You would spend more time trying to figure out who is who than like understanding who they are.
I got you.
Because as adults, they're wearing different clothes. You don't really have an issue with like, I don't know which one is which. It's like the one with the killer assassin and the spiral on her forehead is the bad one. But for kids, and it's like, where are they gonna find some middle-aged, some preteen black twins?
Instagram.
This not Tia and Tamara's heyday. They
go on Instagram.
They aged out of this.
Okay, I'm gonna let that rock. I'm gonna let that rock. It's some Pilates right there, but I'm gonna let that rock. That's a good stretch. But I want to address the inconsistencies portion. Here's what some of the things that I was like, come on, man, pay attention to what y'all write. Right? So here they go, the ship crashes, and it's like, hey, ship crash. I think Osha, with the person was on there. What happened? Oh, the Republic sent probes. they find anybody? No, they didn't find anybody. Okay, well, she was clearly there and alive, just knocked out, not dead. Probe should have found her. Gotcha, no problem. We'll let that go. All right, let me get out this shit and walk around. I don't know if I remember. Maybe it was just me, but I thought Hoth was pretty cold. It was cold enough that Luke Skywalker looked like he was getting ready to die when he was out there in the cold. But apparently, this doesn't affect these people. You could just walk around in the snow. It's hot snow. Maybe it's hot snow in this world.
It's not Hoth.
Big galaxy.
But I get your point.
Big galaxy. Right? It's not Hoth. I'm saying remember Hoth. Hoth was cold, right? It's snowing. It's a snow planet. It's a snow planet.
I get you.
I'm breaking it down to the simplest point, Jeff. I'm looking at this from like, come on, man. This is simple stuff. It's cold. You got it snowing. I'm thinking that this is a factor. No, not a factor. She don't shiver. She don't do this once. Oh man. Oh, I better find
physiology.
She doesn't. She's a human.
No, she's not. She's not.
No.
She's humanoid.
Humanoid. There you go.
Humanoid force baby.
The mental gymnastics. The mental gymnastics. It's amazing. All right. I'm gonna let that rock. No problem. Okay. Here was the biggest one. Ready? All right. Hey, they get together. Who is it? Saul, the Jedi teacher. What happened? I believe. Right. Hold on. Wait. 5 minutes ago. No, she had a sister, but the sister is dead. Are you sure? I am positive that she is dead. 5 minutes later. Hey, I think it's May. I believe you. She's what? You were definitely sure 5 minutes ago that she was dead.
Okay,
you
so
let
me address that one. No, let me address that one.
I believe you.
You're having it. Have you watched anything like Glass Onion or Knives Out or Murder on the Orient? Okay, so whenever you have that, when you have that whodunit, something happened 16 years ago on this planet. These 4 Jedi covered it up. Obviously didn't tell nobody. Nobody really knows what's going on except them 4. He's been sticking to this story for 16 years that Osha's the only person that survived. He used not necessarily a Jedi mind trick, but he knows his Padawan because he trained her. He's got that relationship, that mental bond with her. When she says it's May, he looked at her. He believed her.
Okay.
No, I mean, think about it. Go back.
Is this such a stretch?
That is not a stretch. Go back and watch it. Go back, literally.
But
go back and watch it.
He also means I believe that you saw May. That don't necessarily mean it is her. And also, a lot can happen in 5 minutes.
I understand. I got you. Thank you for this. This is why I'm doing this. Because I need this shit to be made sense to me.
Okay. To take it a step further, we don't get to actually see that he saw the body. You know what I'm saying? Like anytime you have a murder mystery or whatnot, take comics, take movies, you don't see no body, it don't count. That person is not dead unless you got a body.
Right. Understood.
So if they took Osha, got on the ship, Osha looks up and she's like, what happened? I don't remember seeing her get bonked on the head, get knocked out, or like lose consciousness at any point. And then they just on the ship. And he's like, everybody died. Which means
he was like,
right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, or I mean, think about it. Force, he could just like just tap her.
But this is the thing, right? When he caught Osha, I love the dramatic. She's about to fall. Let you linger in this. I could drop you, bitch. Right? I'm gonna let you linger over the edge instead of just a nice immediate, hey, get up here, let you not fall. The show tries to. This is the issue that I have with the show. The show tries to create dramatic energy, and it feels forced. It doesn't
feel forced, and it feels forced to you because this is where we differ. And
because he's a hater.
It's not just hate. I'm critical.
Okay.
I'm critical. Yes, I'm critical.
The hater's favorite.
I'm critical.
But
Hater's favorite.
But I think what's happening here
I'm a
is
critic.
you were letting
I
the
blame
hate,
Puffy on this. This is Puffy's fault.
you are letting the hate cloud your ability to
Ooh.
enjoy or be wrapped up in the moment. And the reason I say that, hold on, and I'm not saying it as an attack. I'm just saying that, like, when I watch that scene, I'm looking at the relationship between a Jedi and his Padawan. He has a new Padawan who's there.
Right.
You talk about awkward. Like, yeah, this is my old Padawan. He's got a hologram where he's like holding the little holotape up. She walks in and she's like, you still fucking with her like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the new Padawan is like, you still on her like that? And he's like, no, that was a long time
ago. We were supposed to let go of the past.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like that automatic, like,
I don't make the rules.
No. But see, that's the whole point.
But that's the point. He is doing things outside of the nature of a Jedi.
Right there.
And so now the question is why?
Jedi are very specific, right? Like, we know
he's
how
emotional.
Jedi are. He is absolutely emotional, and he is contradicting himself throughout the series because he says one thing and then he turns and he does another thing, and it's like he's like, "Oh no, you have to let go of grief. That's revenge you want," and yet he's going out of his way to try to save May when they should be trying to take her in.
But I'm not going to hold that against him because Obi-Wan was that way, right?
And look where
Obi-Wan was a very emotional nigga, right? He made the worst nigga in the world from that shit. So,
like, if he had done his job,
right,
wouldn't have been no Vader. Just saying.
Nah, ain't nothing you can do. That was the prophecy, my man. That was the prophecy.
They
couldn't fight fate.
They listened to Sam and Yoda.
Right, he told him, "Look, man, that dude mom got that dude mom.
I know died. A badass kid when I see one."
There you go.
Right,
like, just leave here.
We'll let you on the cancel, but we do not grant you the rank of bastard. It's
Nah,
never been done in the history of the Jedi. Look, boy, be happy we giving you this.
Yeah. But there is. Oh, I want to say this. There is one other thing that I did like about it, and I don't know, and you guys can honestly probably verify whether or not this is the case in this show. May's fighting is pretty fucking awesome. It's pretty good. She's a good. Her fight choreography is good. Like, I enjoy watching her fights. I didn't enjoy watching Carrie-Anne Moss and watching the Endora fight, but I didn't enjoy it for Endora, right? I didn't enjoy her. I felt like she was way too passive, like way too passive for a Jedi Master. And I also understand that, you know, she's also older. There's but so much she's actually capable of doing. But May's fighting, do you know? Like, is she? Did she train? Is she doing this, or is that? Well, are we getting this stunt double?
No. I'm sure that's actually her, and I'm sure that. I mean, they've talked about the wire work that's taken place, and again, given that we have the unlimited capability of the high point in Jedi society and whatnot, you know, like, we're seeing Jedi fight a way that we really haven't seen before, and I think the art of dueling was really lost because even Dooku. When you get to the prequels, Dooku talks about how, like, it's a lost art, basically. And Anakin was the first one to come through with some flair and do anything. But other than that, most Jedis, you know, don't even have to take out their lightsabers. They
sitting around eating donuts.
Right. They can talk about it and
shut up, get over there.
Right. Little force manipulation.
A force push.
And the conversation's over. You know what I'm saying? So Endora takes a very long time to get to a point where she even, like, truly respects her as a threat. And she does that, you know, it's a threat when she finally pulls out her lightsaber. She's like, oh, you only pull your lightsaber out if you intend to kill. And then she's like, okay, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, little girl. You know what I'm saying? And then what does she do? Misdirection, throws a dagger at the person. She turns her attention away for a second. Boom. She gets hit with a dagger. This is a Jedi Master who has gotten complacent, thought she got away with whatever happened 16 years ago, and is off just doing whatever. When the ghost of that past comes up to face her, she a little shook. So she's already thrown off her game because she has to fight somebody. And from what we see, like, this is the last person she expected to see.
This is Kill Bill.
Good analogy. Good analogy.
That's exactly what it is. It's the last person you expecting to see.
I'll take that. I'll take
that person
it,
shows up
Bill.
in front of you, and now suddenly you got to try to figure out how to Get yourself through this battle. Get yourself out of this situation. And she's going through, marking them off the list one by one. And the only difference with this one is Bill obviously came in and killed the Wookiee. And so now we got to figure out like what's happening with that. And I think he knows like all of the things that you have a problem with as far as the inconsistencies. It's good that you are picking up on those inconsistencies because they are key elements to the plot of this. As we're getting a little bit more revealed each time, it's going to be those things that stand out to say, once we know and everything is revealed, you'll be able to go back and point to those moments where you caught it, where you saw it here, you saw it there. Because like, as far as theories, just to throw one out there, I think the Acolyte will actually end up being Osha. Because I was kind of curious, like Osha kind of seems like the good one, but she has those same moments where we've seen a little bit of rage behind her eyes at different moments, at different times. And you talk about somebody who's disillusioned by the Jedi. Once she finds out that they have any kind of responsibility for her family being gone, the loss of her sister, she finds out that those 4 Jedi are responsible. The person she trusted the most saw. Like that's gonna break her, and that's probably gonna be the way.
So I'm gonna have to challenge that. When do we see? Because maybe I missed it. When do we see this demonstration of Osha's?
The very
power?
first time of Osha's power. Okay, so when we first see, the 2 girls, we're talking about the little alien butterfly. Osha's the first one who grabs the butterfly, and if you look at her face when she's holding that butterfly, it's got that like kind of twisted look, and then she stops and she lets go. Then a few moments later, her sister does it, and she's like, "Okay, let go. Okay, stop. Why do you always have to do that?" And she's like, "Why do you always have to run off?" You know what I'm saying? So like they're going back and forth. There's the way she kind of cuts off, and she's talking to the other person that's on the little scavenger crew with her and whatnot. When she sees that fire, like all of those little triggers. There's a time when Saul gets ready to invite her back. Like she's like, well, yeah, it's time for me to go. And she's talking to the Padawan, and she's like, well, what? You didn't think I was going to stay, did you? Are you going to miss me? And they kind of have a moment. They laugh. And then she gets ready to actually like head out. She's like, no, I've done enough damage. When Saul's like, no, wait, I need you to stay. Are you asking me to come back to the Jedi? She was excited about that. You could tell that she was happy, and that uplifted her for a moment. He's like, no, I need you to help me find May. And she's like, oh.
Well, no, she said that. She suggested it. You want me to stay. You need me because you need to bring her, because you're trying to get her. Osha's the one who caught the reason why.
Go back and rewatch.
Caught the reason.
Take a moment. If I could put it on this. In fact, when we wrap, I'll play it. But if you watch that scene, you can see where she thinks that she's being asked to come back to the Jedi Order. And then upon realizing that she's not being asked to come back to the Jedi Order, you can see that like it goes away. When she first sees her sister in the car, that doesn't look like I'm happy to see my sister who I haven't seen in 16 years. That's like, you're the one who killed my entire family. You set that fire. Like,
I just haven't seen the demonstrations.
There's moments.
I haven't seen the demonstrations. But then you know something? Hold on. Because I don't want to go too deep into this, because this is a speculation thing. So I'm not going to necessarily say that she won't be the Acolyte, right? I just haven't seen the demonstrations of Osha's power to go, let's see what you're capable of. Give me a glimpse of something that says, okay, so for her to be. I didn't even see her show any potential in the Covenant. Everything that has been shown in the Covenant, like normally,
right? They're hyping.
Think of other things whenever they show like
it's a red herring.
Girls together, and they're trying to, show power levels. You normally get a taste of like the good one who's kind of holding back, and there's that emotional or mental block, and they really can't get over it, but then they kind of, something triggers and they do something that is kind of wildly powerful. We haven't really gotten that, and I'm not saying that it's not there or it doesn't exist. It's just
this is
Disney.
This is an entire show about misdirect and how things are interpreted from a certain point of view.
Yeah.
And this is just my theory, but I feel like the theory holds weight and credence. And if you look at the episodes with this in mind, you can kind of see what I'm saying. The only thing that I think sets May apart from Osha in terms of power level, as you mentioned, Osha's ritual was interrupted. When she did the power of all into the one, that got interrupted. And so she did not get the power of all put into her. But she's a force baby, just like May. So the potential is there. Yes. Given that they have their connection to the force with one another, the potential is there. And so, because they even talk about like you could even see the possibility of them being a dyad, like the little symbol that's on the forehead kind of looks like a yin and yang. So there's that balance. You have one good twin, you have one evil twin. So you have your light and your dark right there. But if you go back and you watch those scenes with Osha, who for the most part has shown to only be like a good person. And we haven't seen, like, even when she tries to use the force to like get the robot so that she could unlock the door. If it wasn't for the, like something jarring sliding over to her, she wouldn't have been able to do it. Like her connection to the force, she hasn't been training for the last 16 years, or I guess last 10, however long she was with the Jedi, then she left. So she hasn't been keeping up her training. Her connection to the force is probably a little cut off. And now that she's starting to kind of get back into the groove and be around these Jedi and things like that, the awakening can take place. Homeboy like looked at her, and when the Sith stood in front of her, he sat there and looked at her for a very long time. Now he knew that wasn't May. He knew right away that wasn't May. But they've also done a very good job to keep her locks covering up that part of her head where we can't see that she doesn't have that symbol on her head. Every time you see May, her hair is kind of out the way.
Wait, you talking about the master?
No. May has the little symbol from the coven on her forehead. Mm-hmm. But Osha, her locks stay in place. Right. Mm-hmm. And you never get to see that patch or that spot on her head that would show whether or not she has that symbol. So did the force power actually get into her or not? We know the ceremony was interrupted, but we don't know.
Oh, you talking about the ascension?
The ascension. So we don't know if she actually got her symbol or not because the mark didn't appear at that point. And always, so does it appear at some point later? Does it ever unlock for her? We don't know. Now, if something were to happen to May at this point, she's trying to like keep herself out of it, not be involved, right? She wants to leave. She's like, this is a problem for the Jedi to handle now. She's trying to wash her hands of the whole situation. And yet she's dragged back into it. So if she's there and she's present and she witnesses something happen to her sister after she already made peace with it, you talk about opening up some old wounds, because here's an opportunity where Soul is trying to save May. Right. And if he can save May, then there's a chance that she can reconnect with her sister. That's why she agrees to go along.
Right.
If something happens at this point to May, Osha's going to flip. And if Osha decides to flip, I think that's where we're going to see that power unlock that you're looking for, to see that power level increase. And that's why I think ultimately she's going to be disillusioned with the Jedi. She's going to feel some kind of way about the secrets they've been keeping, and to find out the person that she trusted the most. She left her village to go with Saul. Why did she leave the Jedi Order? We still got to figure that part out. We still got to understand why she didn't stay.
Well, they said that she couldn't. She said she couldn't come to terms. The fact she couldn't come to terms with the fact of death, that she had dealt with death. She was still too emotional because she was still dealing. She couldn't get over her sister.
She couldn't get over that grief.
Right, she couldn't get over the grief. So she kind of mentioned that.
So she harbored that inside, and that's not the path that they want a Jedi to travel.
We don't have no Sith in this show. Let's remember that. There are no Sith in this show. We got the master.
Saw somebody pop up with a red lightsaber.
You know something? We are going into that territory. I don't know if I want to be the first to do it. Right, but I don't feel that that's a Sith. I don't feel that's a Sith. Would any of you other two people on the other side of the panel?
I think the person we saw was Kamir.
Who is Kamir?
Kamir is the
mother.
No.
Oh no!
I don't think that's the mother. I think the herbalist guy, the guy that was working with May on the planet, that was hanging upside down by the trap she set.
The Asian dude?
The Asian dude. I think that's the guy with the red lightsaber that was on the planet.
You know something? He's a good fighter. He's a surprisingly good fighter, because when May thought she had snuck up on him and got him, he wound up overpowering her.
Selected that quick.
And that was one of the things I thought was weird to me. That was one of those inconsistencies where you take this dude who's so unsure of himself, and then all of a sudden he manages to defend himself quite well against this person. And then seems to be in line with the whole master thing and all that other stuff. But
and happens to be in the vicinity when suddenly a Sith appears. I bet you won't see him and the master in the same place at the same time.
It's a good point.
So
it's a good point. I don't know. I want to let one of our other panel.
Ooh, so Jeff, who do you have as the master that showed up on screen?
I think the master is a woman.
Ooh.
And
Any
I think
woman in
the
particular
master is either the mother, the black lady, or it's Mother Maul.
Yeah.
Mother Maul.
I don't know her name either.
I know what he means.
You think it's one of the two mothers?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think one
that
of them escaped.
Coral.
And I think they raised her up, but I'm not saying it's the creation of the Sith, but it is the creation of like an anti-Jedi faction of some sort. And I think the only way, like, I feel like you could really like find and train someone would be if you had some experience and some knowledge of it as well. And you would have to have like the sensitivity to understand, you know, how to keep them from getting out of control and fighting you. And I think it was she doesn't seem like she would have just gone off with somebody who she didn't know. And it doesn't mean that they've been training her up the entire time. Maybe it's somebody keeping close tabs on her, following her around, and then when the time is right, you know, offering her that opportunity. But I think it's somebody who, I mean, Star Wars is very good for you thought this person was dead and they're not. So, you know, I wouldn't put that trick past them just for, you know, Star Wars fans to get mad about that too, even though it's something that's been part of the franchise since 1977.
Well, when we saw those bodies at the witch coven, they were just bodies. They were not consumed by the fire. And even when it happened, I was looking at my wife and I was like, what, did they pass out from smoke inoculation? Like, what? These people aren't dead. Like, they're just passed out. They're just on the floor.
So don't be trying that falling down the stairs stuff. You conscious.
Right. I mean, I literally was like, did they like drink the Kool-Aid before all this happened? What happened? Like something doesn't add. So, I mean, there's a lot of room to start tugging. Using this, there's a lot of room to start tugging on threads to see what happens, but it's also one of those things where like those would just be the conversations I bore my wife with, giving her all my ridiculous theories of what I think and what I see and what I believe.
No, I'm gonna tell you exactly what's gonna happen. I'm gonna tell you exactly what's.
Please do.
So I'm gonna change it up because I honestly think he might. So I was thinking it was Mother Anastasia, right?
Okay.
The master was Mother Anastasia. I'm still gonna put my betting money. Is still on her. It's still on her.
Okay.
Right? I still think it's her. And I think what's going to happen is she's going to find a way to kidnap. She's going to kidnap Osha. Osha going to come with her. And then we're going to have a whole episode where she gets to explain what really happened, right? Oh, y'all was upstairs chilling. Y'all thought everything was good. And all of a sudden there was a fire. And then this happened. And then the Jedi started this fire and then threw it at me. And then we started fighting and the Jedi got the better hand of us and started killing us. And it went wild. It went real left. And so we tried to get at him, but then the fire just kind of got wild. And we got knocked out. And she's going to be like, yeah, but wait a minute. May started that fire. And she's going to be like, what are you talking about? What do you mean May started the fire? May didn't want me to leave, so May started a fire. And that's how that happened. It wasn't the Jedi, Mother. She's going to be like, well, wait.
Nah, that doesn't.
I think we should put, you know something? This is a geek.
We'll continue that offline.
I got $20. I got $20 for the YouTubers. In fact, here's the thing. So we're gonna clip this. We're gonna make this a clip. You're gonna clip this. All right. This is between two geeks right here on where this is going. So I got $20 on the master, his mother, Anastasia. She's going to kidnap Osha. She's not going to know that May started the fire. Osha's going to tell
you're
her
putting a lot on that
she
wager.
started the fire.
Sure you don't wanna...
I got $20. Look, let me tell you something. If we get 100 likes on this video, I'll raise it to 50. 100 likes. If we get 100 likes on this video, it's $50 if I'm wrong. $50 if I'm wrong. And I'm good. I'm good on bets.
All right.
I'm
I've
good
got
on
it
bets.
marked. Teresa, you got, while we're at it, might as well just throw it in there. You got any ideas of who you think the master is?
I don't. Because I'm realizing that I watch things a little bit differently than you guys do, and you try to think ahead and figure out what's going to happen before it happens. And I watch the show and let it tell me what's happening.
Live in the moment, sister.
And I'm
Live in the
okay
moment.
with that.
And that is I miss that.
That is ideal.
I miss that. Let me tell you, it is difficult sometimes to watch, and because you know what, you can't be disappointed that way.
Right.
I will say that you can't be disappointed, but I do know how to detach from what I want to happen versus what happens. It doesn't mean that what happens is bad. So, like being able to make that. Okay, well, I'm gonna check into that, and RG, we'll discuss that a little bit more in depth later. But that is a very riveting conversation on the mid-season review of The Acolyte. It is actually a really good show, and it sounds like, despite the hate, everyone seems to enjoy it. We definitely have 3 people who thoroughly enjoyed it. RG really liked episode 3, so that just tells you something there. Great show overall. I cannot wait to see what they do moving forward. We are halfway through. We've got 4 episodes left. I just cannot wait to see what happened on this planet and what drove the Jedi to do what the Jedi did. And I have to know what it was they did. Must be something, because they got everybody up in arms about what's happening over there now. I want to thank everybody for having watched this video. Be sure to like and subscribe.
Especially if you want to raise that bet money. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. 100 likes. We need 100 likes. I'm trying to get this 50.
100 likes to get there. Make sure you like and subscribe. Click the QR code to follow us everywhere we are. We are GrownAGeeks. You can find us on Facebook, obviously here on YouTube. Check out our Twitch. We're on Instagram and TikTok. I want to thank the guests for coming on to the show this evening. Teresa, Chewbacca is my homeboy. Cashmere the Pro, because he is that dude. Jeffrey, JPNT17. Be sure to check out the website, jpnt17.com. And I am Anna Say's baby daddy, Elder Geek Sam. We thank you for having watched us. Be sure to check us out later. But for today, we are out of here. Peace.